Good morning, Zio here, and today we're talking about EA's most famous surprise mechanics. Okay, not really their most famous surprise mechanics. However, we are talking about surprise mechanics in the NHS, which I believe is the National Health Service over in the UK, England, that little area over there. Yeah, that's across the water from us. So, you know, they've got a lot to say and they've been pretty dang busy. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. Grab your coffee. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that now. Throw it a thumbs up. All that good stuff. Leave me a comment down below. You can do that, right? Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? But here we go. We got an article from the NHS talking about gambling and loot boxes. If you hadn't figured out what surprise mechanics are, that is what EA, I believe it was, called them when they were talking to various other people when people were, asking them about these things in high-ranking government areas like Parliament and the Congress and whatever else they were talking to, because they said same things over here at the US. They talked to them over in Britain and talked to people in England and all that good jazz. And anyway, I'm sure you know what's going on there. You've probably seen it. I'm sure I talked about it at some point anyway. But if not, things have been kind of heating up in the loot box area. I'm a firm believer of loot box being pretty much gambling at this point in time. I hate loot boxes with a passion. I just dislike them so much. And they've gotten a lot of people into a lot of trouble over the years for various reasons, of course. But here we are. We're talking about it once again. And I thought this was kind of interesting to go over because these companies are going to take a hit eventually. They're fighting tooth and nail right now as it is to try and prevent, the loss of loot boxes, especially in something like FIFA, which I think is probably one of the most infamous, loot box things out there that makes a lot of money based off that. But, whatever. Oh, gosh. I used to like those games too. Anyway, loot boxes, they're terrible. And I think they bring the whole industry down as a whole. People justify why loot boxes are necessary and things, and microtransactions in particular are necessary and stuff. And I'm not completely hate microtransactions or the thought of microtransactions. I just dislike the loot box thing. Putting something up and saying, hey, $5, you can get this. That's more my thing. Sometimes I think the prices are a bit crazy, especially with what they were doing with Rocket League near the end of the year. But, some of the things, maybe not so much. Heck, you've got World of Warcraft where it's like $25 for every mount that's ever on their store, and then now recently they've been pumping mounts out like they're going out of style because people are leaving the game, but they're playing classic and all that good jazz. And you've got other little things, little services here and there for other stuff like Final Fantasy 14, which with the exception maybe their mounts, their services are a lot cheaper than World of Warcraft services when it comes to swapping servers and other things. I think that's probably where it should be instead of almost the price of a full game to swap. Anyway, we're here to talk about the NHS, not fall into a rabbit hole of MMOs. But let's look right here. Murdoch has anyway, the NHS mental health director Claire Murdoch. There we go. I've got it. I had my coffee this morning. I swear to you, I really do. And I've been sipping on it, right? And I still can't read. Maybe that's just because I'm dumb. I don't know. Anyway, The NHS mental health director, Claire Murdoch, by the way, has warned video games firms that the risk of setting kids up for addiction by building gambling tasks in their games. And I totally understand that, especially when you make things look like, slot machines or something like that. That kind of definitely falls onto the realm of, this is definitely gambling. You may not be able to cash out, the $50 you got out of it, but you're still getting something out of it, and you're putting real world money into it. So how that's valued is, of course, dependent on the user. If this was, if they wanted real money out of it, they'd go to an actual slot machine and do it. Well, they may not be able to, just due to the fact that they're 14, but they could try. Anyway, in response to growing concerns about addiction to gaming, the NHS has confirmed that opening a new treatment center alongside up to 14 new NHS gambling clinics nationwide to address significant mental ill health linked to the addiction. Now, they are having to open up 14 gambling clinics to deal with the fact that people are growing up and are gambling now. And they're addicted to gambling because, well, surprise mechanics are in their video games. I'm not surprised at all, to be totally honest. Are you? Anyway, and then, of course, a clinic geared towards gaming addiction. Whether or not you believe gaming addiction is a thing, I think it totally can be. On what I personally feel like, I think it could be. You can be addicted to anything. Yes, I get that. I understand. You could be addicted to Netflix. You could be addicted to Hulu. You could be addicted to Crunchyroll. You can be addicted to video games. You can be addicted to crack. You can be addicted to Coke. You can be addicted to alcohol. A whole host of things, out there. And, how we handle it, of course, definitely varies. And I know I personally had a problem with video games at one point in my life to where I did not, I missed out on things I probably shouldn't have because I was too focused on World of Warcraft, to be totally honest. And of course, I didn't have anything like this to help me out. It happens, trying to find that sweet balance between your real life and playing, your hobby, which could turn into an addiction regardless of what the hobby is. It's a thing that could happen. And, giving people the resources necessary to assist themselves. Yeah, I'm fine with that. But anyway, the investment is part of an NHS long-term plan to improve mental health, backed by at least 2.3 billion euros. That's a lot of money. Extra funding within the next 5 years. Excuse me. I'm apparently dying this morning too. Within the next 5 years, helping hundreds of thousands of more children and adults to get timely expert care. And a lot of this debate when it comes to the surprise mechanics or loot boxes, however you want to call it, loot boxes. Anyway, has been around kids, and I'm not the one to go and dangle a kid in front of everything and go, see, it's damaging to children, especially when it comes to something that has, what's the word I'm looking for? When you've got something that's like rated mature, like Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty, I hate it when people use the argument, well, our kids shouldn't be playing these violent games, and it's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. The parent should not buy their children games that are rated mature. And if they own games that are rated mature, maybe they should think about locking them up if they can't keep their kids from it for whatever reason, because they're irresponsible when it comes to dealing with it. And that's my thoughts on that. But at the same time, there's a lot of games out there with these surprise mechanics, that are rated E, or they're rated E10 plus or Peggy 13 or something like that, to the point that they're supposed to be okay for kids, and they have gambling elements inside the game, built into the game, that parents may not know about because it's just not listed. You know, I understand that a lot of people don't actually look at those things where it says rated T for teen, and it says, you know, cartoon violence, whatever themes, and blah blah blah, or mature, and it says some nudity or partial nudity, drug and alcohol references, and you know, things like that. There needs to be a thing for the loot boxes, I think, on there. If it's not, you know, factored in to the rating itself, which I think it should be, because you know, a lot of these companies like to skirt around the ratings, which, you know. Anyway, we're talking about ratings that most parents don't look at or pay attention to, yet these companies try to adhere to some of these ratings and skirt around them to get lower ratings, and will actually remove things from the finished product to get a slightly lower rating for it to, you know, be rated, I guess, towards more people. Although a lot of people also don't pay attention to the ratings. It's a weird thing that we have going on. Anyway, you know, there should be something like maybe a sticker, anything. I don't care. I mean, nobody's going to pay attention to it anyway, but at least something is better than nothing. And even if you've got a complete dunce selling you the game and they follow the law of what they're supposed to do, they can go say, hey, you know, I see you want to buy this for Billy Three Fingers. Okay, cool. However, just so you know, this is a rated mature game, and it has gambling aspects for real money in it. You want them to buy it, or this is rated 10 plus, but it's got gambling mechanics in it with real money involved. Do you want him to have it or not? Yeah, something like that. Of course, people following the law, that's a completely different thing. I think I'm the only person in the world that really actually did that when I worked in games like that, because I got a lot of dirty looks and have definitely been told, well, they don't do this at GameStop. Why would you stop me and tell me this now? Like, because I'm supposed to? Anyway. But, NHS Mental Health Director Claire Murdoch said, frankly, no company should be setting kids up for addiction by teaching them to gamble on the contents of these loot boxes. No firm should sell to children loot box games with these elements of chance, and so yes, those sales should end. Young people's health is at stake. And although the NHS is stepping up with these new innovation services available to families, though our long-term plan, we cannot do this alone. So other parts of society must do what we can to limit risks and safeguard children's well-being. You know, definitely that's where I was tying in with the whole maybe a rating or something if parents would actually pay attention. But yeah, this also, of course, affects adults. That's where I was originally getting at with that whole thing. Apparently, I forgot to mention that, I think. Anyway, concerns have been raised about children playing video games which involve spending significant amounts of money, often without parents' knowledge or consent, on so-called loot boxes, which are virtual collections of in-game purchases and other add-ons. Wow, I cannot speak today. That, of course, that's nothing new. It's like 8 a.m. I never can speak. Anyway, to progress in the game, players can collect items and content, but do not know what items they will be given until they paid, which encourages users to keep spending. Exactly, you know, you get the box, you open it, doesn't have anything cool, you get another one. And this is why nothing is linked to our cards. And my kid who keeps saying, I need V-Bucks, I keep saying, no. You're not getting it. Sorry. You want to spend your own money on it? Be my guest. Do some chores. You know, in 3 years, get a job. But, you know, right now, do some chores, earn some money, and then hand me 20 bucks and say, can I get 20 bucks of V-Bucks? And I'll be like, yeah, sure, we'll do that. I'll take the money off your hand. You can go spend that money however you want. But, you know, as for saving my card data and other things, I keep it with me continuously. So, I mean, unless you sneak in to get it while I'm sleeping, it's not happening. Chances are you're going to wake me up by doing so. But yeah, a lot of other parents don't do that though. They don't think that far ahead. They may buy something for their kid, don't realize that the system has actually saved the information for the next time they want to purchase or whatever, or they just blasted it through the screen and said, yeah, whatever. And when it asks, do you want to? Or they think, yeah, I'll go ahead and do this, because the next time they ask, if I say yes, it's going to be so much easier than having to re-input all my data once again, because I've been standing here for 10 minutes entering my card information on a controller because it doesn't have a keyboard. So it does happen where kids will spend a lot of money. But investigators have found numerous cases of children spending money without their parents' knowledge, including a 16-year-old paying 2,000 euros on a basketball game, a 15-year-old losing 1,000 in a shooting game. And I have that stuff pulled up real quick because I'm cool sometimes. But yeah, I mean, this was reported on, and I'm pretty sure maybe I didn't talk about some of this stuff. But yeah, there have been kids who have emptied bank accounts, straight up from their parents just because they started grabbing packs. And a lot of it revolves around FIFA, of all things. But yeah, spent 3,160 in one game. Whew. That game was what, $65, 60 euros, 55 euros. I'm not sure how you guys' games are over there, but over here they're $60. They're $59.99 USD. When it's taxed, it's 65 and some change for my state, because we have the highest tax apparently in all the states. But we also, don't have to pay some other taxes, so it all equals out. But anyway, a report by the Royal Society of Public Health in December found that over half young people believe that playing a video game could lead to gambling, and that the link between gaming and gambling is a -1, which I've also got somewhere, apparently. But yeah, this is going to be the RSPH, the Royal, what is it? The Royal, I just read it and now I can't think of what, the Royal Society of Public Health. There we go. You guys have weird names for things. Anyway, but yeah, they've got 55% of young people believe that playing a mobile or video game could lead to a young person's gambling addiction. 79% of young people believe that buying a loot box could be addictive for a young person, and 54% of young people see the relationship between gambling and gaming as a -1. And generally, I don't like to use things like this unless I can find something that actually backs that up, right? Because it happens a lot where people will be like, well, X% of this is this. And it's like, well, where's your citation? Where's that at? How did you get to that? What? Where does that come from? I can't remember what it was, but there was something recently that was being toted around somewhere of like 50%. Oh, I remember. It's the whole Russian troll bot farm thing, whatever. Anyway, apparently there was a study done recently where they found out that 50% of whatever were apparently so-called Russian bot farms, right? And when you actually go and look at the study, their 50% number, I'm not sure where they got it from, but they had like 1,000 and some accounts that they took. Then they actually wound up like auditing or whatever 900 and some. And then when you finally get down to it, out of like 32 of whatever it is that they were looking at, 4 actually were apparently Russian bots. And somehow that became 50% of all accounts on a particular subject were Russian bots. So, this stuff can be definitely staggered one way or the other. So, study. If you want to go take a look at it, it will definitely be down in the description below. So here it is. They had several participants. It looks like they had about 30 from England, 22 from Scots, 27 from Wales. They've got them broken up in ages. They've got them broken up in genders. They've got the survey, the questionnaires that these people filled out, their ethnicity, all this other stuff, and they went through and pretty much just asked them, because it was a survey thing, out of quite a few people, not a whole lot, but a decent chunk of people who I guess you could probably call gamers, because we may be the next fashionable thing right now, but we're still not huge. So our numbers are still small compared to other things out there in the world. But there's a nice long study here for people to check out, of course. So go check that out. It'll be down in the description below. And my gosh, we're already 20 minutes into this discussion. Anyway, Murdoch has called on gaming companies to ban sales of games with loot boxes that encourage children to gamble. Probably not going to happen unless you force some kind of law to do so. Just going to say, you're going to have to force a law for that. Introduce fair and realistic spending limits to prevent people from spending thousands in games. I don't agree with that one. I'm sorry. Look, if I had the money and wanted to spend $1,000 in Fortnite, I should have the privilege of spending $1,000 in Fortnite. I should not be hit with a cap and go, oh, by the way, you just spent $100 here, and due to regulation 23B-48, subsection C, you're not allowed to spend more than $100 at any given time in a 24-hour period. Yeah, see, I don't like that thought. I'm just gonna say, I mean, I do get the sentiment here, but no, let's not. No. If anything, that should be something that's set maybe by the parent in game or something, maybe through parental controls or something. I don't know. There are other parental controls out there. You can lock things out. My phone, for one, can't actually, my card may be saved to my phone, but you can't actually use it without inputting a password first. So that's the best I can do with that, without just not saving my card to it. But that also means that nobody using my phone can use my card information without a password. But yeah, maybe something like that. And then of course it's on the parent to not have a sucky password. Make clear to users that percentage chances they have obtaining items they want before they purchase loot boxes, which is something they've actually been doing. They've been including percentages. I don't think it's enough. I mean, when you look at something that's got like a point, not 1% chance of dropping, and you're just like, maybe I don't want to spend that $2.99 or whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, that might deter people from getting loot boxes. I don't know. I honestly think loot boxes should go out the door. But yeah, support parents by increasing their awareness of risk of in-game spending. Yeah, that again ties into the whole warning labels and stuff like that, and say, hey, look, this has gambling aspects in it. Are you sure? You can spend real world money. Are you sure? Anyway. Latest figures from the Gambling Commission shows that 55,000 children are classed as having gambling problems, and the NHS estimates totals are around 400,000 people with a serious gambling problem in England. Jeez. Don't worry, I'm sure the US is 1,000 times worse. I just don't have that data. Recent data shows that more than half of the UK's parents allow their children to play video games intended for people ages 18 or over without supervision or having played the game themselves. Again, back to the whole nobody looks at the warning labels thing. 86% of parents believe playing video games aimed at people ages 18 or over would have no influence on their children, but 62% of parents ended up trying to take games back from their kids after they noticed a problem. Again, depends on the child. Some kids may be influenced a lot better than others. Others, you could probably sit down and say, this is fake. This isn't real. You don't have a reset button in real life. So, You may be stealing cars and shooting up whatever's, now, but can't actually go do that in real life. But yeah, that's purely depends on the kid, depends on the parent, depends on, just a lot of things. So, yeah. Once referred to one of the new NHS specialist clinics, psychiatrists and clinical psychologists will work with patients who could have a range of complex problems, including persistent gambling, compulsive behaviors, development disorder, and difficulties early in childhood that underline addiction. The Gambling Commission does not regulate some loot boxes due to a loophole, meaning it is not classified as gambling under current gambling legislation. This is because there is no official way to monetize what is inside the loot boxes, and yeah, that's why we're in this fight right now. The law is behind by a lot. They couldn't foresee seeing these things having value, and they do have value. It's just may not be with the game itself. There have been sites like CSGO Lotto and other things that have been set up to sell things using cash. You can do this on Steam too, where you can sell digital assets for Steam for cash in your Steam wallet or whatever, and do that as well. But you can't just straight up cash it out and go, well, I've got 100 COD coins or whatever, I want to cash them out for $1 or whatever the equivalent is, and get a check cut for you for like $200 because you had 200,000 COD coins or something weird, something like that. And that is where they've been skirting the line as well. You technically can't get paid, therefore it's not actually gambling, when it has every aspect known to man of what gambling is, except for the fact that you don't get actual cash in your hand. So yeah, the laws do need to change to, bring that in, and I guess drop that part of it at least, because gambling is gambling regardless. Despite this, third-party websites selling gaming accounts and rare items are commonplace and easy to find. Well, okay, like I was saying, CSGO Lotto, among other things. People sell characters and other stuff using eBay and other sites as well. Players are unable to convert any winnings from the casino back into real money, creating a cycle of gambling hard cash in a virtual real world. A recent preliminary report called for loot boxes to be regulated under gambling law, along with a ban on loot boxes being sold to children. Again, yeah, definitely. The report also called the gaming industry to face up to the responsibilities to protect players from potential harm. I don't think it's really the gaming industry to protect players, just saying. Although I wish loot boxes would go. I think people are responsible for themselves, of course. It's not up to, other individuals to be doing that. But at the same time, sometimes you've got to use something like the government to get it done, apparently. Anyway, it's very nuanced. It's very hard to break down. Anyway, an industry levy to support independent research on long-term effects of gambling. Serious concern at the lack of any efficient system to keep children off age-restricted platforms and games. Again, awareness and parents actually paying attention to the stupid, where is it? The stupid label that is on every single game. Like this right here. You see this? Look, if you're a parent and you happen to have run across this video, you see this number right here, or this letter, rated E? This is an ERSB rating. And usually on the back, it will tell you why it's rated that. See, we'll go ahead and we can bring this in right here. I don't know if it's legible or not. But yeah, it says animated violence. It's on every single game that you buy. Heck, even back in the day of PlayStation, old PlayStation, like the first PlayStation. Anyway, pay attention to that label. Seriously, if you're a parent with kids and you play video games, pay attention to that stuff. Don't blindly buy them things. I let my kid play Fortnite. I think they can handle Fortnite. Would I let them play maybe. Grand Theft Auto, on the other hand, no, I wouldn't. I mean, I've got Saints Row on the PlayStation, a few other locations, and they can't play that one. I've locked that one out from them, and it's like, yeah, you're not playing that one. Sorry, can't do it. But you can play Fortnite all day long. Go for it. That Minecraft, I don't care. Go for it. Of course, it all is dependent on the kid as well. The maturity of the kid, what they can do, what they can take. And of course, gambling is this whole other beast. Anyway, we have gone on for almost 30 minutes. I am so sorry that I can't believe that has gone on this long. I should have done this in like 2 parts or something. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.